Hi, I'm Skinny Cheeks. This video will go over my raid setups for the Stamina Necromancer in the Scalebreaker patch. I'll be going over the consumables, gear setups, rotations, CP, and then show a couple of parses. There have been a lot of complaints about the skills audit that was done this patch, but one thing it has done is open up a variety of playstyles and skill bar setups that are actually viable. The following are the setups that worked best for me, and as always, if you find something that works better for you, use it. So first, let's talk about foods, potions, and poisons. In trials, I'm currently running the Bistat food that gives max health and max stamina. The reason I'm able to get away with this over a regen food is because our healers are running the Master's Resto Staff, Hircines, and Sentinel of Rakugams. I'd say if you don't have at least 2 out of 3 of those going in your group, you probably want to run Lavafoot. It gives max stam and stamina recovery. The reason I prefer Bistat over Lavafoot is I don't have to put any points into health. With the Bistat, my stam's at 33k and health is almost 20k. With Lavafoot, I have the same stam pool, my health is lower, so I end up having to put about 20 points into health, which lowers my stam pool. If you're doing a bash heavy rotation, Lavafoot still might be the best way to go. It does take a big toll on your sustain trying to bash a lot. Right now I'm working with a group that's pushing towards TTT, so having that extra health pool without even having to worry about putting points into health is more valuable to me. For potions, I'm using the standard weapon power pots with brutality, savagery, and stamina. For poisons, the damage health poisons. You can also use the crown poisons, they do the same amount of damage now. I went with Orc for my racial option. It does the most damage. Dark Elf is close behind, and then Khajiit. Then Imperial, Redguard, and Wood Elf are all good options as well. For the Mundus, I'm using the Shadow. And then as far as Vamp goes, it's kind of personal preference. You don't really need it. I prefer to not have it actually on live. On the PTS, I use it just for the invigorating drain so I can build ult quickly to do tests on dummies. Now I'll go over the gear setups and the rotations for each setup. The main setup I use for single target damage is 5-piece Locuestes, 5-piece Reliquin, VMA dual wield front bar, and Master's Bow back bar. The Master's Bow is passed up the Maelstrom Bow for single target damage. And then you're going to want an axe and a dagger with Nirnhoned main hand, sharpened offhand. Doesn't matter if your dagger or axe is in main hand or offhand, as long as the main hand is Nirnhoned and the offhand is sharpened. The reason you want an axe and a dagger is because Rapid Strikes hits 5 times in 0.6 seconds and has the greatest chance to proc your bleed of any dual wield ability. Another viable option is to do precise offhand. You will have to adjust your CP in that case, which I will go over later. For my skills with the VMA setup, I'm using Skeletal Archer, Rapid Strikes, Rending Slashes, Consuming Trap, Detonating Siphon, Colossus, Detonating Siphon, Endless Hail, Barbed Trap, Poison Injection, Blast Bones, and Colossus. A couple things about the skills. You can also run Dawnbreaker on the front bar. I like to do this when I'm able to squeeze in a Dawnbreaker at the end of the fight, but I wouldn't have time for another Colossus. For example, on the raid dummy, I can cast this 3 times, but I also have time to cast a Dawnbreaker as I'm getting into execute, whereas I wouldn't have time for a 4th. You get 300 weapon damage for 20 seconds. It also does damage, the ultimate itself, and you get 3% weapon damage for the whole fight. It's really kind of up to you depending on the fight and how long your group is taking, if you have time for another Colossus or for a Dawnbreaker. For example, on VHOF on the first boss, I have just enough time to drop 2 of these and that's it. So I just run Colossus on the front bar and get the extra 10% crit during execute. So using Endless Hail over Barrage, honestly it's really close. Both morphs are good. The reason I like Hail is because this rotation in particular that I use is 11 seconds long, and if I use Barrage doesn't last long enough, and my Berserker enchant on my bow bar will actually drop off, leading to about 80 to 85% uptime on it instead of 100. Really both morphs work. If you're using a more dynamic rotation, Barrage is actually a little better. It does a little more damage, but Hail does close to the same damage, and you get your full duration of your Berserker enchant. Now I'll go over the rotation. You're going to start with the Archer to pre-buff, and then Blast Bones, and then Hail, and then you'll start light attack weaving with Barb Trap, Poison Injection, Blast Bones again, drop your ult, Rapid Strikes, Rending, Trap, Rapid Strikes, Siphon, Archer, Rapid Strikes, Bar Swap, Hail, Trap, Poison Injection, Blast Bones, Rapid Strikes, Rending, Trap, Rapid Strikes, Siphon, Archer, Rapid Strikes, and then you just repeat. So I'll demonstrate that. And that's the rotation. The next setup I like to use for single target damage that has a little more AoE is a monster set. 5-piece Reliquin, 5-piece Locestes with Locestes on the front bar, Axe and Dagger, and then Master's Bow on the back bar. You can also do double dagger with this setup because you're not using rapid strikes, so your bleed procs will be a little less frequent. Axe Dagger I think still slightly pulls ahead, but if you do need a lot of AoE damage, then Dagger is going to be the better way to go. For skills with this setup, I'm using Skeletal Archer, Blast Bones, Rending Slashes, Consuming Trap, Detonating Siphon, Dawnbreaker Front Bar, Detonating Siphon, Endless Hail, Avid Boneyard, Poison Injection, Trap, and Colossus. The reason I'm using Boneyard is because I'm using the Marsalok monster set, and having that extra skill that does not cost stamina really helps with the bash weaving. So I have Boneyard that costs Magicka, Trap that costs Magicka, and Siphon that's free. Another way you can set this up, I see a lot of people run it this way, and it works well. You probably need Lava Foot to sustain if you do it this way. You can put these two on the front bar, Whirling Blades and Rending as your two dual wield abilities on the front bar, and then just move Trap to the back bar in place of Boneyard. They're both good options. Now I'll get into the rotation. If you are using Marsalok and you're on PC, I highly recommend the Cooldowns add-on by Garrett, and it will put an icon on your screen that shows when Marsalok is ready. So the rotation will just be Blast Bones, Hail, Boneyard, Poison Injection, Trap, Blast Bones, Rending, Consuming Trap, Blast Bones, Siphon, Archer, Blast Bones, repeat. When we open up, we'll do it slightly different. Just in the beginning, we'll pre-cast Archer, Blast Bones, Hail, Trap, Boneyard, Poison Injection, Blast Bones, Colossus, Rending, Blast Bones, Consuming, Siphon, Archer, Blast Bones, and then get back into the regular rotation. And I'll go ahead and demonstrate that. That's it. Now I'll go over my two-hand and bow setup. Mostly use this for fights that require a lot of AoE damage. Last boss in Sunspire comes to mind. So there's a couple of setups you can use with this. 5-piece Locestes, 5-piece Zogvin, and then Master's Battle Axe, front bar, precise. Master's Bow, back bar, infused. Another setup that works with this is Monster Helm, Reliquin, or Zogvin, and then using a perfect Locestes Battle Axe on your front bar. You can get a little more single target with this setup, but if you're really wanting to make sure you're pushing out the cleave damage, I'd go with this one right here. Skills I'm using are Archer, Blast Bones, Reverse Slice, Brawler, Detonating Siphon, Dawnbreaker, Detonating Siphon, Hail, Consuming Trap, Poison Injection, Barbed Trap, Colossus. You can also go with the other morph of Reverse Slice or Brawler for more single target damage. But Brawler for survivability is one of the best skills in the game, and Reverse Slice for AoE is the best skill in the game. Now I'll go over the rotation. So it's going to be Blast Bones, Hail, Consuming Trap, Poison Injection, Barbed Trap, Blast Bones, Brawler, Brawler, Blast Bones, Siphon, Archer, Blast Bones. And in the beginning we'll open with Archer, Blast Bones, Hail, Trap, Consuming Trap, Poison Injection, Blast Bones, Colossus, Brawler, Blast Bones, Siphon, Archer, Blast Bones, and then the static rotation from there on out. I'll go ahead and demonstrate the rotation. That's it. So the last setup I'll go over is my trash setup, and I'm running 5-piece Locestes, 5 Zogvins, Master's Great Sword front bar sharpened, and the Maelstrom's Bow back bar infused. My skills are Siphon, Blast Bones, Reverse Slice, Brawler, Consuming Trap, Colossus, Necrotic Potency, Endless Hail, Boneyard, Spray, Elude, and Colossus. Pretty much my rotation in trash is I'll send out a Blast Bones and then hit Hail, Boneyard, Spray, link my Siphon, and then Brawler spam until they're getting low on health, and then Reverse Slice spam until they're gone. If you start running a little low on stam, you can use a Consuming Trap on one of the ads. You see on the tooltip there, it's 6,300 stamina back just for putting it on one ad. Next I'll go over my CP. The red is really dependent on the content. For the green I do 67 bashing focus, 100 mooncalf, 23 tenacity, and then 40 into tumbling and shadow ward for that juicy treasure hunter passive. For the blue CP, 40 in mastered arms, 66 thaumaturge, 66 precise strikes, 34 piercing, and 64 mighty. If you are running a precise front bar on your dual wield instead of sharpened, that's fine. You just have to adjust the CP. Take 10 out of each of those. Bring mighty down to 56. Mastered arms up a little, and then pump the rest into piercing. And that'll put you right at pin cap for no sharpened. And this is also the setup I use if I'm running two-handed without Zogvin. So I'll need a little extra pin with that setup as well. So I'll use this setup for that. To wrap this video up, I'll go over a few of the parses I did using the setups from this guide. Alright, this first parse is using the first setup with the VMA dual wield. I did use a slightly different CP on this one. I used 72 Thaum, 72 precise strikes, 28 mastered arms. I think this might technically be slightly better just for the VMA dual wield rotation, but the CP I mentioned earlier is a little more versatile and will allow you to swap between sets a little more easily without constantly swapping your CP around. This parse is from the second setup using Lokesti's front bar with the Marsalok monster helm. This next parse is using the first setup with the VMA dual wield. It is the first boss in Veteran Halls of Fabrication. We got 93.5k single target damage on them. Unfortunately, didn't get any of the Storm Atros from our Sorkin group. Could have been a little higher. We have 3 Necros in group, so we have 6 ults that went off from that, giving us 19% major vuln uptime on the bosses. This next parse is using the Master's two-handed battle axe setup with Lokestes and Zogvin. This is the last boss in Veteran Sunspire. You can see how much Brawler and Reverse Slice do. I've seen the Reverse Slice splash almost 300k damage, and Brawler can hit harder than Blast Bones when enemies are stacked well. Almost 70k AoE damage. This wasn't a fully optimized run or anything, it was for fun at the end of our raid night, but still shows that the build can hit rather hard. And this last parse is from the committee fight in Veteran Halls of Fabrication. Did swap in Whirling Blades on this fight. 54.3k single target, 60k AoE. In this setup, is using dual wield and bow. And I actually tried out the new Grundwolf set for this because I always have tough time sustaining on this fight. So I used Grundwolf, Zogvins, Lokestes, and then I had Soul Splitting Trap instead of the Consuming Trap for the extra AoE. That's the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope it was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions and I'll try to answer. If you have any suggestions on how these can be more digestible, let me know. Bye.